Hello, fellow table talkers. Got to have fun with this stuff the way I look at it. Hayk posted a question there, and I wanted to about Bindu and the exercises there, so I thought I would respond to it here in this format. Something just went bing. What was that just went bing? Let me go look at that, see what that was. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, okay, I'm back here, and so I'm going to put the question up so that we can look at it together. And so Hayk says, I have a question regarding the Bindu article. You mentioned a lot of exercises there, and each time you also remind that these are not substitutes for the actual meditation and should be done alongside it. But if my mind is not one-pointed, calm and clear enough, am I able to do meditation anyway? And so, yes, the meditation, the point that I was trying to make there, I'm going to go back over here and open the article for everybody so I can make this point. It's a very good question. Thank you, Hayk, for asking it. And so, okay, here, I'm going to put, this is the actual website article. And there's the top of the article. And I'm just going to scroll down, use one of them as an example. Remember, this article is on Bindu. It's the pinnacle of the three streams of Yoga, Vedanta, and Tantra. And the reason that I made this article at all in the first place, let me put me back here for a minute. The reason I made this article in the first place is because very often yoga is thought of as being this and over here, and people will say, I do Vedanta. I don't have anything to do with yoga. Or somebody will say, I'm a Tantra person. I don't do yoga and I don't do Vedanta. Well, from the orientation of this tradition, these are not separate things. There's one sadhana that involves what appears to be yoga, Vedanta, and Tantra. And in this article, I try to make the point, I attempt to make the point that it is not a cut and paste job. We are not saying we're going to take a little bit of yoga and a little bit of Vedanta and a little bit of Tantra and glue them together and make something new out of it. Rather to say, when you turn the clock back the thousands of years ago, they were not separate things. We modern people, there's a term that's in relatively common usage now called reductionism. We love to pull things apart. So we have taken the old sages' wisdom of the ancient times and we've pulled it apart. We all know this in terms of brand naming of yoga. And so anyway, so in acknowledging that reality, what I did with this article is sort of used as a starting point. Oops, wait a minute, I pushed the wrong button there. Used as a starting point, is used as a starting point that there, let's look at yoga, let's look at Vedanta, and let's look at Tantra. If you go back down through that article, there's a huge section, it's a long article, there's a huge section on yoga, there's a huge section on Vedanta, and there's a huge section on Tantra. The point, playfully said, the point is that every one of them leads to the piercing of the pearl of wisdom. Everything comes down to a point. It's the infinitely small. You know, when we talk about the Turiya or Atman or Brahman is beyond time, space, and causation, well, if we say that like that, then all of this multiplicity out here, all of this out here has emerged from that prior to there being space. There is no up, down, left, right, in, out. It's just, it comes out for pop into this plane of reality. And so on the journey inward, one of the last things that happens before you have an explosion is you go through that point and there's no me left. And then there is the Atman. This is why it has been described as the light of 1,000 suns, because all there is the infinite light. And then when we come back down to the person level we say, oh, wow, I have seen the face of God, or something like that. But again, the point that is trying to be made in this article is that all of these converge at the Bindu. They all converge at the Bindu. And so then what I'm doing in the article is walking through discussion about yoga, discussion about Vedanta, and discussion about Tantra. And I put in this article 6 practical exercises. They're not intended to, I was trying to say it clearly in there, they're not intended to be substitutes for meditation. What we're talking about is meditation. It's meant to be a straightforward comment. These are like self-awareness exercises. So there's the top of the article, and there's some examples here, just as I'm going down here, some examples of the Bindu. These many symbols contain that principle. I'm not going to try to go through this whole article here, but I thought I would scroll down here. 3 streams, Yoga, Vedanta, and Tantra. And then here's the first stream. What I called first stream is yoga. And for each one of these 3, I provide 2 suggested self-awareness practices. And so I'm just going to go to the first one here. Over time, I have thought about recording these in audio format, but I've refrained from doing it because those who really dive into this article will see this and will play with it. And if I turn it into recorded things, it's going to be received as if I'm suggesting 6 meditations. And so I don't want to confuse people like that. And so this is meditation on the smallest. Well, it's one of the sutras of the Yoga Sutras. And so it's just an exercise. Sit comfortably. Think of a person you know is very friendly and loving. That's all it is. Note that it's not a deep one-pointed meditation that's absorption in samadhi. It's just a self-awareness exercise. And if you play with this, you'll discover there's some value to it. Just read through it, allow feelings of love towards the person to be there. Excuse me. And remember, this is just an exercise. It's an exercise in trying to understand the principle. Then shift your attention to the space in the heart, and I'm going to turn the me camera back on so maybe I can animate this a little bit. So I sit here and I go inside and I become aware of a person I love. And just however I'm doing that internally, I'm aware of loving that person. Then the exercise is saying, okay, now to get away from that as a part of letting go of that, bring my attention to the heart down to a little point. However you conceptualize that point. This is the principle. And now I'm going to put that back up again. And then leave the point, and then go. See, it says, gently let go of the point. Allow the attention to expand, and remember a person who's not feeling well, and cultivate a sense of compassion. So now when we do that, I'm going to temporarily take this out of here, so that I can look at this way, and you can kind of see me in the bottom corner there. And so first I had you think of a person you love, however we experience that in the whole field of mind. Then it's simply saying, now bring your attention down to a point. Be there for a moment, and then expand. Actually what I'm doing now, maybe I'll go back and do some of these videos like this, describing this, and instead of recording an audio guided meditation. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll come back one of these days and make a little video for each one of these 6 exercises where I'm, like we are right now, just walking through it. So I'm holding a person in my mind and heart. I'm thinking, okay, I've got a person, so I'm thinking of that person, and I'm just what I'm doing. Then the exercise is just simply, now let go of that person and come down to a point that's right here. Now allow the expansion to occur and think of a person that I know who is ill. very sick physically, and I got a person. Now I'm thinking of a sick person. The suggestion here is just hold that person in the spirit of compassion. Do that for a minute or a few seconds, and then simply bring the attention, let go of that feeling, and come back down to a point here. And then shift to thinking of a person who is benevolent, some person who comes to mind, now I've got a person like that who just gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. And so my mind is actively engaging, my emotions are there about that person. And I'm being happy for that person. Now, what am I going to do? Now I'm going to let go of that person. I'm going to come back down to this point in my heart. And okay, now I'm going to allow this to come back out like this. And I'm going to think of a person who I personally think as a not nice person, mean, rotten, or nasty, or something like that. So I have a person like that, and I'm trying to hold that person in a stance of non-attachment and neutrality, not to hold him up and beat him in the nose, punch him in the nose. Okay, so here, just neutrality, non-attachment. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to bring my attention back to this point here. You see the exercise that we're doing? It's an internal exercise to practice the ability to make the mind one-pointed on a very small point, because it's the idea of attention being able to focus on something larger and something smaller. And then what I'm going to do is come back here. Now I'm going to shift my attention up here to the flow of the breath. You see, I've moved up here, and now I'm being aware of my breath. Now I'm going to come back down to the heart, allowing Om to go to silence. So internally I go Om, and I just come back down to a point. And now I'm going to allow that to expand, and I'm going to be aware of the process of sensation. And I'm internally, it's easy to do, I'm being aware of smelling, and I'm being aware of tasting, and between those two, I'm thinking of a snack that I'd like to go have. I'm holding in awareness, touching, I'm feeling my feet on the floor, I'm feeling my butt on the chair, you see, and smelling, tasting, seeing, touching, and hearing, and I'm listening now. I can hear the background white noise in the room that I am. I don't hear any like external sounds like cars, but I'm listening. Anyway, smelling, tasting, seeing, touching, and hearing, and I see the screen. I'm being aware of sensation. Now what do? I simply bring my attention back to the point. It's just an exercise. Now I'm going to leave this point, and I'm going to come back into this field of mind that's like sitting in a movie theater, and here's the field. I'm aware of this field here, and I'm not literally seeing something inside, but using my imaginative mind, I can imagine that there is a field of infinite light here, luminosity. And these ideas that I'm taking here all come from the Yoga Sutras, so I'm just applying it in a self-awareness exercise. Now I'm being aware of this luminosity. Now I'm going to let go of that luminosity in the field, and I'm going to come back here. And here's this point right here. Return to the field of mind, and I'm going to think of some great meditation master. Two of them just came to mind. First, Buddha came to mind, and a Buddha statue. I don't know what the actual literal Buddha looked like, but we've seen many statues, so a statue just came to mind. We have a Buddha statue sitting out in the garden in front of the ashram. Somebody gifted this, and he just sits in the garden between some plants. So I'm thinking of Buddha, and I think of Swami Rama, of course. And so I'm holding in my field of mind Buddha and Swami Rama, and you see, I've come out to do that. And I'm going to pretend, what if my mind were as steady and stable as his mind? Wow, all of this noisy mind would be quiet. Isn't this cool? I'm pretending to be Buddha. I'm sitting like a Buddha statue. Nothing is disturbing me. Thoughts come and go, and they're not disturbing. That's the experiment here. And now I'm going to let go of Buddha. I'm going to let go of Swami Rama, and I'm going to come back here to this point in the heart. You see what we're talking about here? This is the spirit of these, Hayk. They're not intended to be the meditation. What we're attempting to do in a regular meditation practice is, if I can hold this up, we're attempting to systematically follow all of this inward beyond the activities of mind. So the exercise we're doing right now is involving the use of the mind. We're not going to be, in meditation, we're trying to do pratyahara. We're trying to let go of all of this stuff here that I'm showing you. We're trying to let go of all of that and move beyond it to this. That's the spirit of what I was trying to say before, that says this is not a replacement for your regular meditation. It's just something to do. So now I'm going to leave this point, and I'm going to come to the stream of the mind. This may sound odd, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, mind. And as I do this, a mango comes to mind, and a couple people come to mind, several people. Right now, Adi and Yvonne are in an airplane over the North Atlantic on their way here. They're flying from Amsterdam to Atlanta, Georgia, and then from Atlanta they're coming here to the ashram, and they'll be here tonight. So in my stream of mind, they just came to mind, and a mango came to mind, and some other people are popping into my mind. I'm intentionally not holding. I stopped to tell you the story about them, but in this phase of the experiments, now a little stream came to mind that I remember in the mountains one day. A little memory from childhood just popped into my mind. Ma Tree just came into my mind because she's upstairs doing something with a satsang with some people. So I'm intentionally allowing the stream of my mind to wander wherever it goes. And so this is expanded. It's the field of mind out here. All of these memories and thoughts and fantasies are coming from the basement of the mind, from the latent unconscious. They're coming forward and out here, and I'm just allowing this stream to come. Now, allowing the stream to come like this, when I play with it, once I become pretty good at it, it actually has a calming effect, because I'm not pushing away the thoughts. I'm not saying go away, go away. I'm intentionally saying, all of you thoughts come, just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. And at the end of that, what do I do? Simply bring my attention back here. And I'm bringing my attention back. Now here, I said this exercise is meant as an exercise. This is what I think Hayk was questioning me about, because every one of them I said, this is not your regular meditation. This sequence in its entirety is not meant here to be a permanent meditation. You may find that one of the meditations feels particularly resonant, and it may be something you do for some time, and that's entirely okay. But it's your choice. I'm not asking anybody to systematically do these 6 practices every day. They're just experiments in self-awareness. And so again, what are we doing? We're moving from a point here. You can think of it as a needle point, or like, the tip of a pan. You can think of it very small like that, or you can think of it as a point that's like a space here. But the game that we're playing in this exercise is to go from here to a field out here, and it's just providing different things to put in that field. And you go from here out to here, and you come back, and you go out and you come back. So this is meant to be a game, just something to play with. Now let me go down. I don't want to go through all 6. Here's an exercise on meditation on evolutes of matter and Bindu. What are the evolutes of matter? There's earth. So you do something similar here. You be aware of the earth, and then you come back to the point. You bear internally, however your creative mind imagines water. It may be a flow of people walking through a city. That's a flow of water. It may be you're standing at the ocean out here by the ashram at the Gulf of Mexico, and you're watching the waves of water flowing. You may imagine, you may fantasize that you're standing beside a river. I don't care what it is. And then what do? You come back to the point. You come to the point. Again, it's just a game. You become aware of fire, so you may imagine buildings burning down with big fire, or a small campfire where you're, cooking marshmallows, or sitting with friends chanting Kumbaya, my Lord, or singing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. I don't care. Your own creative. Be aware of the fire, and then be aware of the sense of fire that's in your body. There's energy moving throughout my body. What do I do after that? Come back here. Be aware of air in the body. You may instantly be aware of clouds in the sky and air that's out there, and then be aware of the air in your body. You may be aware of the air that's in your mouth as I'm speaking right now. You may have gas from eating a lot of beans, and so there I'm being aware of air. Allow your own creativity to be there. And after you're aware of the air, you may be aware of the air that is the space, that's the space inside of your abdomen between the organs. There's a little bit of air in there. It's not supposed to be air in there, but it happens sometimes. There's air in my nostrils. What do I do then? Come back to the point. Then what do I do? Be aware of the space that the body occupies, however that is. It doesn't matter. It's just a game. And be aware of the space. And then what do? Return back to the point. Remember, the theme of this article is the Bindu, is the point. It's a tiny, tiny little point. And so all this is an exercise. And I'm not going to go through all of that. And so then down here, maybe one of these days I will make a thing to talk about these exercises. And I think actually this is a good way to do it, isn't it? And then here's contemplation through 3 levels. Now we keep talking about these levels over and over and over again. And there's the 3 levels. I'll put this up here so you can see it just to make sure. There's the 3 levels. There's a dotted line there, dotted line there, dotted line there, so that it divides into 4 parts. That's the A, the U, the and the silence of Om mantra. Vaishnavar, Tejasa, Prajna, and Turiya. And so this is simply an exercise dealing with being aware of 3 levels. And so there it is. It's just an exercise. It's a self-awareness little game is the idea of these. And when we're doing our regular meditation, we're always trying to head to the Atman. We're trying to let go of all the levels of our being. And we develop our own systematic practice of moving to gross, to subtle, to subtler, to subtlemost, and then beyond. That's the part of your regular meditation that these exercises here are not intended to be a replacement for. Okay? And so this is just another exercise. This one is number 3. Here's number 4, which is a contemplation on I am in the Bindu. So it's going from I am back to the point. It's just a little game. And the next one down here, let me find it, is, I don't know where it is. There's exercise 5, which is Bhuta Shuddhi, moving through the chakras. Comes predominantly from Tantra orientation. And so here, there's another thing, is moving through the chakras with the mantra. So the root chakra is Lam, and the root chakra is the element of earth. And it is smell. It is the Jnanendriya of smell. And so then you're moving your attention then to the Svadhisthana chakra. It's the 2nd chakra. And you're playing this little game. You're being aware of the Vam. You're being aware of the element water. You're being aware of procreation and taste, the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas. Now, I know we're not familiar with this, so we may end up sitting there going back and forth from the computer screen to the practice. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter. These are just exercises. And elsewhere on the website, I have a description of Bhuta Shuddhi. I have a very brief MP3 file on that in the website that reminds you to move basically through the major chakras along with the mantra. So please don't turn this into work. These are just exercises. And this was exercise number 5. They're just little games. And number 6, then down here, is the use of the Guru chakra, which is up here, and gives instructions on how to do that. Anyway, I'm going to pause there and hope I hope, Hayk, that this helped make some sense out of this. Meant to be very simple and straightforward. And thank you. I appreciate you being willing to post your question. Hayk had written me a note and asked if he could ask me some question. I asked if some of it is okay to put it out here so we can have some conversations about it and I can address this. And so I hope this is useful. Thank you, Hayk, for being willing to write this down in there. And I hope this touches on that. And I hope what I just said here helps by confused by what I'm referring to with actual meditation. I hope that what I've said here clears that up. Yes, I may become swayed. See, in the exercises we're doing, we're not getting swayed. We are intentionally going into those other things. This is part of the reason for the game. We go into those other things that I was talking about in the exercise, and then we're coming back. It's a way of training ourselves to do this. If you're training a child how to ride a bicycle, or you're a tennis coach and you're teaching somebody how to have a body stance and hit a tennis ball, how do you do this? How do you learn how to play tennis? Hit balls. How do you learn to ride a bicycle? Ride the bicycle, and just keep doing it. And so it's that kind of thing. So I move my attention to this field and I bring it back. I move it here and I bring it back. Very common, very easily to think. We read a book, we say, I'm going to put my attention right here, and I'm going to be a great sage, and I'm going to go to samadhi. And what happens is we end up with nothing but a headache and stuck and frustrated. And then a year or a decade later say, what's wrong with my meditation? This little thing here these are just a series of 6 little games that is practice in coming out here into the field of mind in some way, and then coming back to the point. And by doing that, you're training yourself, wait a minute, I can do this. I can move my attention. I can open my eyes. I can be out here with you on the computer. I can look over here. Matri left me, but I can move all around. For me now, after doing this for so long, it's very, very easy to just simply come back to a point. And this is all I'm asking you to do. Play with these things. And gently, it's the self-awareness exercises. That's why I call them exercises, not meditations. Okay. So thank you again, Hayk, and thank everybody for playing and listening and watching me. I hope this is useful. And again, if you'll put these kind of questions out there, I'll make a little picture of it like this and talk to it, because I think I hope in the comments box here, put some comments if this is useful. And if it's not, I'll just be quiet. Okay. Maybe I'll put this little thing up here. It's a festive time of year. I'll put a little border up there. So this is the Christmas border with little balls, and I could sing you a Christmas song. How about I sing you a song? Is that okay? Good. Hayk says, good. Now I got my feedback. Now, thank you. Now it is very clear. Good. Thank you, Hayk, for saying that. And that is Hayk. That's how you pronounce Hayk. For those of us who don't know the name, it's like, well, how do you pronounce hack? Hack doesn't sound very nice, but we had a video conversation, I think it was yesterday, and he pronounced it, so it's Hayk. But anyway, so thank you. So I know now. Now it is very clear. I hope this is very clear to everybody else and is useful. Remember the game, the principle is we can do this all day long. Every time you do meditation, it's a little game of I come out here in the world, and all I'm doing is coming back in. And part of the exercise, like the bicycle or the tennis racket thing, hitting balls, is we just keep doing this. The ball comes, and here it is, and I swing, and I hit the ball. We just keep doing the same movement over and over, and that's in some sense what these exercises are. 2 of them draw from yoga. 2 of them draw from the principles of contemplation, from what's classically thought of as Vedanta, and 2 of them draw from what are primarily tantric principles. So it's 6 different exercises that all have essentially do with the same thing. Move outward into the field of mind, whether my eyes are open and I'm out here in the world, or it's totally internal. We all know about this internal field. I move to that field and I come to a point, and I move to the field and I come to a point, and I move to the field and I come to a point. I'm animating with my hands. We're not trying to train hands. We're trying to train attention. If I sit here right now, I can move my attention to the bottom of my left foot. Now I can put it on my right knee. I can move my attention around, and you don't see me doing anything, but I'm internally moving my attention around. And that's the game that we're learning how to play. Okay. Thank you all for visiting and watching this later, etc. And once again, thank you, Hayk, for doing this in this way and playing. I'm going to pretend that Matri and Roseanne are sitting here with me saying, push the button, push the button. There's an end broadcast button here, and I always get slow about pushing it. But I'm imagining I'm coming out here now, that there's Roseanne and Matri, and they're both saying, Swamiji, push the button, and I'm going to be very one-pointed and ignore them. Not now, Roseanne, not Matri. I'm busy meditating in my heart here, or I'm busy meditating here. And there's the voice of Roseanne. I can hear her in the distance. Swamiji, push the button, okay? I'm going to push the button now. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, Hayk. Bye-bye.